Oh no. Sadness, despair, isolation. This is how you would feel if you were stuck alone in the wilderness and you did not know how to survive. If you didn't have the proper tools, knowledge, or skills to save yourself, this is how you would feel. Totally alone, totally desperate, and like you were gonna die. My topic is being stranded alone in the wilderness with 5 items, and the 5 items that I have chosen are: first, the survival knife; second, a large pot; third, an axe; and fourth and fifth, 5 pounds of beef jerky and 5 pounds of hardtack. The survival knife is my first choice because it is necessary in any survival situation. In terms of a multi-purpose tool, the survival knife is completely and totally matched by no other survival tool. Atkins 2011 says that good survival knives are full tang. This means that the blade of the knife is thick, it's made out of strong, condensed metal, and it follows the entirety of the knife through its handle. It's not just fixed at the handle. So it's much more sturdy, much more reliable, and much less likely to break. Atkins 2011 also suggests that the smaller, denser blade will stay sharper for longer and be able to be useful in a survival situation for longer before you have to start resorting to rocks, sharpened rocks, axes, and things like that. Atkins 2011 suggests that the perfect multi-tool, the survival knife, is also good for splitting small pieces of wood. This can be perfect for creating splints, cutting cloth, making gigs for spearing fish, turtles, and other small animals like snakes, making cups out of bamboo or other types of similar wood, creating tinder to start a fire. Atkins 2011 says that you can also create a fire with the sparks from the blade of the knife. Smashing them against a rock, the dull side of the knife can easily create sparks against certain types of rocks. The knife is also vital when it comes to skinning game and scaling fish, as well as being used as a self-defense weapon in terms of cutting off the heads of snakes or fighting off any sort of small vicious animals like raccoons. Second, the large pot. The large pot is absolutely essential for creating clean, drinkable water in a survival situation. Being sick can mean being dead when you're stuck in the wild. So having a large pot to safely boil water, drink it, and also cook other food is absolutely vital. In addition, a large pot can be used as a makeshift stove simply by turning it over and placing it over a fire or over hot coals. Then, skinned game or meat, fish, turtles, anything that you can find can be placed on the bottom of the pot, which is now the stove top, and it can be cooked. Mac Welch 2015 suggests that the large pot can also be used as an effective digging tool, much more effective than your hands, a rock, or any other tool available to you in that sort of survival situation. In addition, it is also important for transporting water to create mud, for clay bricks, pots, or any other sort of structure building foundation. It is also important for transporting hot coals or fire if you need to move a base fire from one location to the next without carrying a stick that might go out. Third, I have chosen the axe. Mac Welch 2017 suggests that the axe is very important in a survival situation because it can be used to chop or weaken very large pieces of wood that a knife is not useful for. This means that you can cut down large trees and create long-term, comfortable shelters to shield yourself from the elements. In addition, the back side of the axe can be used as an effective hammer to drive stakes, break rocks, and any other sort of structure building method. The back side of the axe can also be used similar to the back side of the blade of the knife to create sparks and create a fire with your tinder that you can use with the blade of the knife. Nicholas 2014 suggests that the axe is absolutely life-saving in a survival situation because it can be used to split wood so that it can be burned more effectively, but most importantly, it can be used to split larger pieces of wood to be used as a splint in the case that a leg, a knee, an ankle, an arm, or any other bone is fractured. That could be the difference between life or death. An unsupported broken leg could mean death, but a supported, splinted broken leg could mean survival. Finally, the axe is very important for fending off aggressive animals just as the knife is, but even more effective than the knife. In terms of cutting off the heads of snakes, striking small animals, or any other sort of self-defense, it's very important to have an axe along with the knife. Fourth, I have chosen the 5 pounds of beef jerky. Montero 2018 suggests that beef jerky is a very important source of condensed protein. This means that 5 pounds of beef jerky is worth a whole lot more protein than 5 pounds of steak. This is because the beef jerky has been dehydrated and trimmed of all of its fat. So 5 pounds of beef jerky would mean that you have a lot more protein than 5 pounds of steak because there's no water and there's no fat to add weight to the steak. It's all been burned off. This is important for getting started. The most important reason you want to take large amounts of food with you in a survival situation is because you're not going to have access to food immediately. Your first priority is water, shelter, and fire. Next comes food. However, lack of food can mean headaches, confusion, poor judgment, and it could certainly mean making mistakes that could cause injury, death, and in the best case scenario, low morale. Low morale is very, very bad in a survival situation, especially if you're alone and especially if it's your first time. Montero 2018 also states that you can suck on beef jerky for hours at a time. This is very useful to do for your stomach to trick yourself into thinking that you're full. This is a common survival trick with gum, where you will chew gum, suck on hard candy, a sucker, or any other type of food that can be placed in your mouth for a long period of time, even roots, grass, or anything like that, because it suggests that you're chewing and it tricks your stomach into thinking that you're full when in reality you're not. While this may not add any more energy to you, it will increase your morale and you won't feel so hungry and your judgment will not be weakened. Fifth, I have chosen the 5 pounds of hardtack. This is a dehydrated mixture of water and flour that has been used for thousands of years, according to Montero 2018. It can last for decades on a shelf, and it can last for weeks to months at a time if you were to add honey. Honey is very important because it can increase your energy levels and add serotonin to the body, which can make you happier on a chemical level. Montero 2018 also suggests that the long history of hardtack being used in all of the past American wars, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the First World War, and the Second World War, as a food ration for soldiers, means that it is high in energy, it is filling, and when honey is added, it can make you energetic just as some sort of makeshift nature energy bar or energy drink might do the same. It has been a source of food for humans to store for weeks at a time for thousands and thousands of years, and it is absolutely vital in any survival situation. Like I said, it is important to take up to 10 pounds or more than 10 pounds of food if you have it with you, because you need a week or more time to get ready, get set up, and have a system for collecting food. If you go into a survival situation with no food base, then you're going to spend the first week starving essentially. Your judgment's going to be weakened, your morale is going to be weakened, and the best thing you need in a survival situation, just like in any sort of terminal illness, is a good attitude. It can really affect the chances of your survival. In conclusion, I believe that these 5 items out of the long list of possible items are the best combination to guarantee that your survival chances are high. To recap, the knife is the first choice, the overall most important survival choice, and the multi-purpose tool. Second, the pot is for water and cooking. Clean water is one of the most important needs in a survival situation. Third is the axe, for building shelter, creating a fire, and having protection. A good shelter can mean the difference between sleeping very little at night, cold, wet, sad, miserable, low energy, and it can mean the difference between sleeping in a warm, fire-lit, comfortable grass bed shelter that is large, wooden, and very protective against the elements. An axe could mean the difference. Otherwise, you're going to be building it by hand. Fourth and fifth is the 5 pounds of beef jerky and the 5 pounds of hardtack. The condensed protein, along with the condensed, long-lasting, honey-filled bread carbohydrates that is hardtack, will certainly give you a long-lasting source of energy for the first few days of your survival situation so that you can get established, you can get ready to go, and you can start to create sources of food that can keep you going for long periods of time. Trust in me, I have used axes and knives for over a decade of weekly camping trips. My family and I, my dad, my stepmom, my stepdad, my mother, my 2 brothers, many of my friends, we would travel all around Oklahoma, sometimes around the nation, and campers, and we would camp out on a weekly basis. I've done this for a decade, and these 5 things, whether it be some sort of carbohydrate, some sort of protein, a knife, an axe, and a pot, these 5 things are the most important thing you can use for a survival situation. To close, I would like to say that choosing any other 5 items would serve to your detriment, and choosing these 5 items will greatly increase your chances of survival. Do not be the sad, desperate, lonely person that I was at the start of this speech to get your attention, and instead be confident, have a full to moderately full belly, have some sort of energy, be moderately well rested, and know that you can survive on your own in the wild if you have these 5 items, you have a positive attitude, and you get after it when you wake up. Thank you.
And if you have your iPad with you,